So we've got an exercise here that we can jump on in with Mr. Obi Wan here. And this is an exercise called Relax on a Mat, which will help your pup to aid in gaining emotional intelligence and basically being aware that he can calm himself down in any sort of situation. So what I'm going to do here is just sit down on the ground here and give Mr. Obi Wan a treat. Excellent. Every time that he comes on over to the mat. Good job, bud. Good boy. Good boy. So now he's over here. So he's off the mat. So we're going to wait for Mr. Obi Wan to come on over back to the mat. One thing to take note of is we are usually good, 100% silent, except for I do say their name. And so you can call Mr. Obi Wan over, say Obi Wan, and get him to come back over to the mat. But step one is just having them understand that the mat is where the good stuff happens. After they understand the mat is where the good stuff happens, then we're just going to be looking for increased relaxed body posture. So usually the first is a sit, and then after that they'll start sniffing down towards the mat. The next is a down, and then again you'll treat them when they start sniffing towards the mat. And then they'll start sniffing towards the mat, you treat that, and then eventually you only treat them when they rest their head down, and eventually it just looks like you've got a pup there and they plop down on the mat and rest their chin on their paws or on the mat. So you can utilize this for a multitude of different facets. I've got folks that have used it for a plane ride. Hey, sweetie. Dog-friendly hotels, all sorts of good stuff. But we utilize this for other dogs and people, having them be aware that other dogs and people are okay. And really, dogs interpret the world in an inverse way that we do. So a dog will see something, immediately feel it in their body. Good job, bud. And then that'll send a trigger to their brain that they need to react and respond. And so that's when we can get barking, biting, just shaking, whatever their anxious response is. If their muscles tense up, if their muscles are relaxed and calm, then it's sending a trigger to their brain that whatever's going on around them is a-okay. So we're basically teaching them to be able to calm themselves down and relax themselves. So in this first session, when we're working with Obi, we just get to where he understands that the mat is where the good stuff happens. That is perfectly fine and well. If he starts working through, offers up an SIT, good. So he did that over here. So he's in the proximity of the mat. I'm going to give him one. I'm pretty lenient when I'm first working with pups. So he's just a smidge off the mat. That's fine as long as he's offering up the what it is that I'm looking for. Good job, bud. Good boy. So again, this is 100% silent when you're working with him, which is what makes it so empowering for him. So a really good job, buddy. Gives him the capacity to work through this on his own. So just like watching someone drive a car or driving a car yourself, you learn so much more when you do it. You can't really watch someone drive a car and know how to do it. So you want him to have 100%, he's about to give us an SIT, capability to do this on his own so that he knows, good boy, whenever he's getting stressed out, that he has the capacity to calm himself down and relax. So this is great The fact that he offered up a DOWN right out the gate, I'm going to give him lots of treats for that. Bam, 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 one right after the other, because that's really the most crucial part of the exercise is when they go into their DOWN. So that is excellent. Perfect. Good. So now he's sniffing down towards the mat, so I'm going to treat him for that. Another sniff down towards the mat, treat him for that. And so if he were to pop up, I'd still treat him for coming back over the mat and start from ground zero. It's fine. Good. So we're seeing what he'll offer us here. So even if he gives us my criteria right now may be just that he's giving me prolonged time on the mat here. If he gives me a prolonged DOWN, because really that's really tough for him. So if he just hangs out there. So when you're working with him, if he's able to give you, if he goes into a DOWN and gives you 5 seconds, treat him for that, for just hanging out in his DOWN. That's very, very, very successful. Good work, sir. So I'm just going to withhold my treats here. He's trying to figure out what it is that's going to get him treats. And by not giving him treats, it's just a sign that, hey, you're not doing quite exactly what we're looking for. So I know, good job, that I can raise the bar a bit. With some dogs that are having a more difficult time with this exercise, I may just continue to treat him for just hanging out on the mat. But since we've seen him already be successful, I know I can raise the ante. But again, here we go. He's just hanging out his DOWN for 5 seconds, so I'm going to call that a success. That is, sniff down towards the mat. So of everything we go over, this is by far the most important thing, teaching your dog that he has the capacity to calm himself down. It'll just make his life so much better, just alleviating having an anxious dog or overly excited dog, and showing them that the world is a safe place is such a gift that you can give to your pup. So one last side note before we sign off here is that if you hear anything, good job, that may get your pup excited, like I just heard a leaf, I believe, fall on the sunroom out here, and I also heard a backing up of some sort of like work vehicles. I heard it beeping, and he's able to stay in his DOWN. That's a very treatable moment. So if you hear a dog bark, a person squealing outside, crying, exclaiming loudly, a car horn, anything that would make Obi Wan anxious, if he stays in a DOWN or even just stays on the mat, then that is a very treatable moment. And that's really perfect. What we're looking for in this exercise is that he's able to stay calm when things that would normally make him anxious occur. So another sniff down towards the mat. Perfect. So please work on this at least 3 minutes every day. Excellent. And it will make such a difference in Mr. Obi-Wan's life. So, good job, sir. So you got an amazing little guy here. All right.